This is a recording of Mehera-Meher Volume 3, starting at the bottom of page 400. Write to Khorshid to send the book, Baba instructed. So many years had passed that Khorshid could not locate it, and the book was now out of print. It had been printed in England, so when Adi Jr. asked if there were anything Mehera would like, Mani wrote him to find a copy of Bunny Brothers. Adi Jr.'s task was difficult since not only had the book been printed at the turn of the century, Mehera did not even remember the author's name, Jacqueline Clayton in brackets. Adi scoured every second-hand bookshop he could locate. Finally, he found one copy and sent it to Baba. Baba loved it, Mehera said. He had it read twice. He wanted to see the illustrations also. A side note says most of the color plates were missing as children had torn them out. He would call me and say, "Come, see how sweet this picture is." Baba was just like a child. Side note here says, what Baba really liked, according to Meheru, was Mehera's enjoyment of it. I love fairy tales and all stories with happy endings, Mehera concluded. Baba did too. Baba liked stories with a happy ending, Mani too observed. He would play his role so perfectly, asking, "Do you think it will turn out all right? Will it have a happy ending?" I would say, you won't let us peek at the back, Baba." Now I realize that suppose you are reading a book that I have read already. I know it will end happily, but you are reading a terrifying chapter where all looks hopeless. In the same way, in life, Baba knows that it all has a happy ending, but we are involved in the chapters, so caught up that we don't know it has a happy ending. He knows and comes to reassure us with his divine knowledge. Baba always liked a happy ending to his stories because to his story there is a happy ending. There are not all happy chapters. We go through ones that aren't happy. Don't worry, I can't tell you the ending, he says, but these are only sad episodes. We have to trust him so wholeheartedly. If he says there's a happy ending, that's fine. The only thing we have to do is that while we are holding his hand, let him be the guide. Don't argue. Follow him. Not only follow him in walking, but follow what he has said. Obey him. All he wants is obedience. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing. Ah, a nice picture of a nice old car, English car, I think. This must be Guru Prasad. I can't see if that person is Baba or, well, let's see. Adi waiting to drive Baba to Ahmednagar in Don's Wolseley. Adi's back is turned because of Mehera's presence. Mani behind, not, oh, the one I thought it was Baba was Naja, Khorshid, and Meru. Mm. A bunch of little cutie pies in front of Baba there, or to his side. Oh, so the Rani of Baroda in glasses. That's the owner of Guru Prasad, or was the owner. Uh, Perviz Talati behind Rani, Arnavaz by the door, Rano, Meru, Mani with camera, Freni Dadachanji in front of Mani. Behind is Khorshid, Goher, Zarina Maval, Mavalwala, and Roshan Karawala, the very back there. Uh, Another picture from the film by Adi Jr., 1964 in Marizad. Chapter 149, Questions and Answers. Baba returned from Guru Prasad with the women on Sunday morning, 2 July 1967, in Dawn's car, driven by Adi Sr. At Meherazad, Baba announced that not only would his seclusion continue, but for the next 4 months it would be even stricter. Correspondence was stopped and no visitors permitted. Since July 10th, Baba is in much stricter seclusion due to the intensification of his universal work. Mehera wrote to Irene Billow. He comes from the Mandali looking so tired due to the pressure and strain of his work. On the 10th, absolute quiet reigned in Meherazad. Not only we, but even the servants observed Baba's silence. And poor Mustan, who has had previous experiences, is quite resigned. Baba and we all gathered in the hall to listen to a tape sent by Kenmore on the morning of the 10th. Elizabeth and Kitty talked on Baba and his silence. At this time, I am also stitching a blouse for myself. Meheru has helped me to stitch a cotton coat that I've just completed. Baba dictated a list of instructions for those at Meherazad during the 4 month period. Concerning the women, he said, Saroshvilu to write information about the selected pictures for showing in Nagar. And Baba will send the women mandali to Nagar accordingly for The Sound of Music, Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, and My Fair Lady, Vilu should arrange to take the women for these shows. Television did not become widely available in India until several years after Meher Baba dropped his body. Other than reading to Baba, the sole source of entertainment for the women was an occasional movie, and as mentioned, they had not been to any in Pune that year. The films listed above were to be shown on an outdoor screen at the Army's Annex Club. Sarosh and Vilu were members, and the club was not far from their house in the camp area. It was raining on 27 September when the women went to see Lawrence of Arabia. So the film was shown inside a huge army garage. Side note says, because of the change of venue, the show started late. The driver, Yusuf, was sent to inform Baba that the film would not be over until 1:50 a.m. Baba sent a message with Erich that Goher should not watch the movie, but return to Meherazad at once, which she did. After the show, Adi Sr.'s car was sent with Bhaskar as an escort to the women's DeSoto in case of any trouble on the way. Mehera liked the story of Lawrence of Arabia, but found the constant desert scenes a bit uninteresting. She would have preferred a story with lush green locales. Mehera liked the sound of music and My Fair Lady, but did not enjoy Dr. Zhivago. It was too heavy and sad for Mehera's taste, and quite long at 3.5 hours. Baba did not accompany them to any of these films, though, of course, Mehera told him all about them. Baba was working in seclusion in Mondali Hall for 3 hours every morning and in his room for 20 minutes from 2:45 p.m. After his work, the women were with him. Each had their own special places in Baba's bedroom. Mani sat on a stool by the TV window, in quotes, TV window, to the right of the dressing table, and read to Baba, who was seated in Kenmore's reclining chair, often holding Mehera's hand. Meheru placed a small stool in front of Baba's chair for his feet, which needed to be elevated to prevent strain to his hip. Mehera sat on the curved chair by the window, by the light, as she usually did some stitching while Mani was reading. If Arnavaz were present, Mehera sat on a stool next to the window and gave Arnavaz her chair. And in parentheses, it was not fixed that Mehera must use the chair next to Baba's chair, but mostly she did. Close parentheses. Rano sat on a stool or on the floor to the left of the dressing table. Meheru was on a stool in front of where the hair display is now located. Naja on a stool or chair by the door leading outside. Goher came only for a minute. She never sat through the readings. And the side note says Arnavaz had a weak back and could not sit on a stool for long. One day, when all except Goher were present, Baba asked, "Where is Goher?" She came 10 minutes later and said, "A villager came who was ill, so I was giving her some medicine." Baba said, "Good. Always see to them. Attend to them." It was an indication that Baba wanted Goher to have a dispensary at Meherah's, which came into existence after he dropped his body. After Mani had read for a while, Baba asked for his dinner. The green topped card table that Joseph Harb had brought was placed in front of him. It was light enough for one person to carry. Naja, or sometimes Meheru, brought the food on a tray. Baba ate his evening meal of rice and dal, seated in Kenmore's chair. Mehera served the food on his plate. "Where's the chutney?" Baba might ask. "Baba, I think it's coming," Mehera told him. "They are making it fresh." By the time Baba mixed his rice and dal with his hands, the chutney would arrive. It was garlic, coriander leaves, hmm, I, I guess that means cilantro, salt, a tiny bit of dried coconut, and hot green chili with a dash of lime. Baba might take a taste and remark, "Oh, it is very hot." Baba looked anxiously at him, concerned that it was now too spicy. She stepped forward to remove it, but invariably he would gesture, "No, leave it. I like it." Mani continued to read as Baba ate. If he found it amusing, he laughed, said Mehera. He didn't make any sound, but one could tell from his expression that he was feeling happy and amused. Mani continued reading until 5:30, when Baba would hold up his hand, signaling, "Enough." The footstool was taken away. Holding Mehera's arm, he pushed himself up and walked to his bed, where he was seated. He then said good night to all. Mehera received a kiss and an embrace. "Sleep well," Baba told her every day. Mani was standing nearby. Baba looked at her and said sometimes, "All right, you also come." And he embraced her too. Others received neither an embrace nor a kiss. No one ever bowed or joined their hands to Baba. I'll pause here for a second. "We were just natural with him," Mehera clarified, "and this is what he preferred. Baba didn't like bowing or joining of hands to him. It was meaningless to him." Mehera was always the last to leave the room at 5:30 or 6 p.m. After they had left, Goher rang the bell. Bao, who had been waiting on Rano's veranda of the small cottage in front of the main house, came inside. The women were not to make the slightest sound from then on. They conversed in whispers. At dinner, when someone dropped a spoon, for example, Baba sent Bao to inquire from Goher about the noise. Meheru, who had the order not to read after 9 p.m., listened to the radio in the dining room with the volume turned to a barely audible level. In parentheses, she did not have headphones. The others were in their rooms, sewing, writing letters, or reading, while it was still light. There was no electricity then, only hurricane lanterns and an Aladdin lamp in the drawing room. Side note says Mehera went to bed at 9:30 or 10 p.m. A kerosene lantern was kept burning all night in Baba's bathing room inside the house. Another lantern hung outside Baba's window. Bao used a flashlight to read Baba's gestures during the night. He then went to the table by the window to write down points given by Baba. When the new house was being constructed, Baba had electric fittings put in every room, saying, "We'll see to the electricity later." Although there was a generator at Meherazad, it was too noisy to use. There's a side note there. I don't see where it was referring to, but it says Mehera used this bathroom also. I don't see any mention of a bathroom before that. Anyway, okay. Sometimes Baba might perspire in the warm weather, and he would require an extra pillowcase. Because there was no electricity at Meherazad, Mehera and Meheru laid out extra pillowcases, napkins, handkerchiefs, Baba's face towel, and so on that might be needed in the night. These were kept handy for the night watchman in Baba's bedroom so that they would not have to rifle through the cupboard in the dark. Everything was laid out in advance. Another side note, an electric connection was provided to Meherazad by the government in 1972. In addition, in one corner of the room was a wooden clothes horse on which were kept other items Baba might want in the night: a warm shawl, two or three blankets of different weights, a smaller one to cover Baba's legs when he sat up in bed, and an extra sheet. And the side note says the clothes horse was in the corner where the painting of Baba on the flying white horse hung for many years. This painting, by Margaret Pole, was brought to India by Jean Adriel in 1948, but it was not kept in Baba's bedroom until 1971. So a smaller one to cover Baba's legs when he sat up in bed, and an extra sheet. These were folded on the rack every day for the night watchman. Mehera also kept out Baba's cotton coat, a thin, warm coat, extra sadras, and a pair of socks. If it were cold, Baba sat up, and the men Mondley helped him put on his jacket. The night watchman sat in the upholstered chair opposite Baba's bed, and Baba too used this armchair occasionally. As mentioned, once the women had left Baba's bedroom for the night, they almost never were called inside again. One evening, however, 10 minutes after they had left, Baba sent Bao with a message for Mehera. Goher was told to tell Mehera not to worry and to be happy. Mehera sent this message back: "Yes, I am happy and not worried. Tell Baba that." Said Mehera, "Nearly every day, for some days, after we came out of the room, Baba would send this message to me. So sweet. Just a small gesture that he remembers me." During her visits to Meherazad and Guru Prasad, Arnavaz often observed similar gestures of love between Baba and Meheru. Between Baba and Mehera. The way Baba would be loving to Mehera, the way he embraced her, gave her little attentions. It was practically all the time. Sometimes, when we were all with Baba, Rana or Mani were reading. Mehera would go out of the room to bring something or to do something. Baba would at once miss her and ask, "Where is Mehera? What is she doing? Go and call her." Mehera would come and say, "Baba, I went to bring such and such a thing." Baba was always looking around for Mehera, missing her. He wanted her to be with him whenever the women were with him. Goher observed the same thing. In later years, when Baba was so handicapped and leading a sedentary life, Mehera served Baba at the dining table. If she happened to leave for some reason, Baba would ask, "Where is Mehera?" He would miss her even for a short time. Baba always liked Mehera to be present when he was in the room with all of us. If he wanted something, Mehera went out to bring it. Sometimes there would be conversation on a certain subject, but Baba would wait till Mehera came and then discuss it. Arnavaz concluded, the expression of love that showed on Baba's face for Mehera is something to be observed. No words can ever describe that. The picture of Mehera looking at Baba with love, her whole being was a sight even the gods would love to see. So beautiful. Baba talked with everyone, made jokes, or gave discourses. Mehera all the time would be looking at Baba. In the early days, she was oblivious of her surroundings, except for Baba. She had eyes for no one. She had thoughts for no one, just for Baba. It had to be. It was her role, her destiny. During this period, while Baba was in his room, if he heard a motorcycle or a car approach, he sent one of the men to see who had come. "Baba, it must be Padre," they often said. "He's come to talk with Pendu. Go and find out why he came and tell him to finish quickly and leave." Sometimes it would be Adi Sr. And the side note says, whoops. So a couple side notes. Baba was alone in his bedroom for the few minutes it took the night watchman to deliver Baba's instructions. Next side note, whenever Padri came to Meherazad and Mani was called to Mandali Hall to ask him something, Padri looked at Baba to answer Mani, never directly at her, knowing that it was Baba who wanted the information. Once, when Padre was repairing the water tank at Maharazad behind the main house, he had just finished painting it when Baba's car drove up with the women. Padre had strict instructions not to be seen by them, so he dropped everything and slipped back to the men's side. Baba said that it was good he had done this and commended him for his work on the tank. Although Baba was in strict seclusion, occasionally he called the Kalchuris to Maharazad. On one visit, Sheila wore a gold-plated brooch with artificial diamonds. Baba admired it in the hall. Sheila started to remove it to show him, but Baba motioned her near and held it in his hands to examine it on her blouse. At the dining table during lunch, Mehera too noticed the brooch and remarked about it to Baba, who pretended not to have seen it. Sheila took it off, and Mehera showed it to Baba. Baba admired it, touched it again, and commented on the lovely design, never letting on to Mehera that he had already seen it. He did not wish to spoil the happiness she gained from showing something new to him. Another time, when Sheila was at Meherazad for lunch, Mehera, who had been busy in the morning, came to the dining table without applying makeup to the scar on her forehead from the accident. Sheila had never noticed the scar before, and because it was so white and prominent that day, she stared at it. Mehera noticed her expression and covered it with her hand, explaining, "I forgot to apply makeup to my forehead this morning." Sheila said, "No, Auntie, I can see Baba's image in the scar." "Wonderful," Baba declared. "This little girl can see my face on your forehead. Aren't you happy, Mehera?" And Mehera was. "Yes, Baba, it doesn't matter if the scar shows, if your image is there." Another day during lunch, Baba mentioned that when Mehera died, she would get liberation and that Mani would have one more life. Sheila became very excited and asked, "What about me?" Baba looked thoughtful for a moment and then said seriously, "I am so merciful. Twice I wanted to bring you to me for all time." In brackets, when Sheila had typhoid and later mastoid surgery. "But your mother pulled you back. I could not do it. Today I'm in a very good mood. I am willing to give you liberation this moment on one condition. Your mother should not cry. Tell her you're going to die and she shouldn't cry. She should be ready to say yes, happily, willingly. She should say, 'Let baby Sheila go to Baba.'" Hearing Baba's words, Rama immediately started weeping. Mehera said, "No, Baba, do whatever is good for Sheila's spiritual progress, but don't hurt Rama's feelings and wishes." Baba said to Sheila, "Look at her. Look at Rama. This is the reason I cannot do anything for you. She is pulling you back. I have to be merciful with her also, so you will have to remain with her." The women seldom asked Baba questions about such pronouncements. For one thing, they were sensitive to the fact that Baba was on silence. They did not wish to add to his burden by making him answer at length. In addition, they knew that Baba did not want them to bother him with questions. Baba gestured as if a large weight were on his head, Goher said. He told us not to become a burden to him. So we never bothered him with problems. We never asked Baba questions. During darshan programs, Baba had to answer questions Baba had to answer questions, so with us, Baba wanted to relax. We only wanted to be with him, said Mani. Baba was so vast, so all filling, so total, so complete, so all absorbing that we had no questions for him. Baba is, and that was enough. Now, when we are stuck for answers, we wished we had asked Baba this or that. One morning, however, Baba was in an expansive mood. He was seated at the dining table after breakfast when Mehera asked him, "Is what they say about Noah's Ark true? Did it really take place?" Baba said, "Yes, it is true. Noah was a perfect master, and at that time it was necessary for the world to be destroyed. That's why he gathered each species of animal with him." Another time, while combing Baba's hair at Meherazad after his bath, Mehera asked Baba two more questions that she had always wondered about. Is the story of Adam and Eve true? And were Shiva and Parvati real people on earth, or are they only mythological figures? She did not remember exactly what Baba had answered, but she thought he said that Adam and Eve were mythological and Shiva and Parvati were real. Mehera did not re- Mehera did remember Baba's reply when she asked him, "When will all the things happen that you say will happen, like the brotherhood of mankind and the new humanity?" "Be patient," Baba said. "Just be patient. It will all take place as I've said, but it is like sowing seeds. What do you have to do? You have to plant the seeds, enrich the soil with manure, water them. For such a great thing to happen takes time." About seeds on a more mundane level, Mahara wondered aloud, why did you have to put so many seeds in the guava? Only a few seeds would have been sufficient and better, she suggested to Baba. One thing Mahara always wanted to ask Baba, but never did, was who was Queen Elizabeth II in her past life? She has a good husband, a son, a daughter, an empire. She certainly wasn't a yogi. When Baba was in a relaxed mood, Mahara did once ask him why he had created certain animals. "Baba, there are some things in the world that I dislike intensely: crows, sparrows, lizards, mosquitoes, and flies. Why did you have to make them?" Baba just smiled. The side note here says Mehera would have enjoyed this couplet by Ogden Nash. "God in his wisdom made the fly and then forgot to tell us why." So why did you have to make them? Baba just smiled. Mehera, ever alert to Baba's comfort, tried to deal with flies if they were bothering him when he was eating. If she caught them as they buzzed around his plate, Baba asked, "You caught it. Did you wash your hands?" He always told her to wash her hands afterwards. So Mehera was particular to wash after killing flies or mosquitoes. "Did you ever kill a mosquito on Baba?" the author asked her. Baba wasn't allergic to mosquito bites, as she was, and he wouldn't much feel the itch. His skin was so pink. Once I saw a mosquito sitting on his shoulder, but Baba was working intensely at the time. I didn't want to slap the mosquito as it would bother Baba. All my concentration was on the mosquito. Should I swat it and risk disturbing Baba, or just let it bite him? I was worried and anxious about what to do. Luckily, the mosquito solved the dilemma by flying away. Once, when Rhoda Mystery was visiting Meherazade, Baba was resting in his room, apparently sleeping, when a bee began hovering near his face. Rhoda caught it quietly and released it outside. While she was holding it, the bee stung her palm. Baba opened his eyes and asked whether she had gotten hurt. Rhoda was surprised. She had not made a sound, and Baba's eyes had been closed. Baba, Mani too occasionally asked Baba a question. Once she asked Baba about Peter, Jesus' disciple. I used to feel very sad and hurt about Peter. I wondered why Peter should be given the role of denying his Lord. Why did you let that happen to Peter? Mani asked Baba. He loved you. Baba looked so lovingly and said, I know, but it was for my work. Had Peter not denied me, he would not have had the repentance, the remorse, which was the force, the thing that drove him to do the work he did for me. He worked to be freed of his repentance. If not, my work would not have been done to the extent I wanted it. Baba added, You have no idea how much I loved Peter. He had to do what he did for my work. Then I understood, Mani said, not only about Peter, but about a lot of other things. Mani wondered about something else, which she asked Baba. One thing I did ask, it was a little fear I had, something that disturbed me. In Baba's room at Meherazade, I had been reading a Rex Stout story, or the Tolkien trilogy. We were relaxing. Suddenly I thought of Baba's lovers. We love Baba so much in this life. We live for Baba. We are all his. But what happens when this body goes and we have to take another body? Will we find Baba? Will we have to look for Baba? Will it be a hit or miss thing? When we come back in another body, will we love him? Will we recognize him so instantly? Will we have to start all over again through material stages to learn to love him? I asked Baba, what happens when someone who loves you dies? How are they to know you? Is there a possibility they might miss you? Or do they have to search for you? Do they have to wander? Baba said, no, with a confidential, intimate expression. No, nothing like that. You pick up from where you leave off. It's always a going forward. It's never a going backwards. You never go back from where you are. It was more than his words. His gesture and his expression were so eloquent that 100% assurance that you were linked with him. There is never a break. Mani also wondered why certain things should have the good fortune to come into Baba's contact, even the flies that Mehera killed. In Baba's room, when he was resting, his sadra would at times slip off his shoulder. A fly would come and alight on his shoulder, and I would think, when there are billions of flies in the world, out of all of them, why this one? Why is this one different? Why is it his destiny to sit on God's shoulder? Or about the seafood Baba ate. Why this fish? Why this particular vegetable? It amazed me when Baba picked up a stone and threw it. Why that stone? I wondered. One thing that Mani never asked Baba about was why she was lucky enough to be born his sister. Since a child, I've learned never to worry about whether or not one deserves Baba. You have the good fortune, then grab it. We have him. Take him. Grab this chance. Who cares whether you deserve it or not, or whether you are worthy or not? Some say, oh, I'm not worthy. Forget it. Don't waste your time in that. Take it. This is the season, the avataric springtime, when the fruits are not only on the trees, but overflowing on the ground. Pick them up. It won't always be like this. Don't worry whether it is all right for me to pick up that fruit. Take it. His bounty is boundless. It is our limitedness, our littleness, which prevents us from carrying more. That's why Kabir says that such a season is there for looting that bounty of his name. Take it, loot it. Don't hesitate. Don't look the other way. Loot all you can. In her family letter of 1 June 1967, Mani quoted Baba as saying, that which has never happened will happen when I break my silence. Baba and Mehera in a black and white picture in the garden. Meherazad Garden, mid 1960s, courtesy Meheru. Mehera kissing Baba from the film by Adi Jr. in Meherazad circa December 1964. Blurred, but Baba looks so young there. Well, mm, much more old picture, much older picture. That's Upper Meherabad, 1937. Ruano behind Mehera, seated Kitty and Khorshed. So we'll stop here and pick up next week.